Welcome to Andy's Garage. I'm Andy Phillips. Today we are back in the garage getting ready to work on the Countach project, but the cool thing with this is we're finally going to start the painting process. I know we've been talking about it for a while. It's been dragging on for a while. We've kind of had it in this primed state for a while, but today's the day we're going to start. So I'm going to show you what we're going to start with because I'm going to break it up into panels and kind of cover it over probably a 3-week period. So that way we can take our time and do it right. So let's go ahead and get started and I'll show you what we're going to do. So I have some items here that we're going to be using. I have some JB Weld plastic bonder. Got a little bit of some spots that I just want to kind of touch up. The cool thing with this product here is you can actually use it as a little bit of a body filler for shallow stuff. So we're going to use that, patch up a couple areas. There's one of the side panels on the wing that's slightly off. It doesn't line up perfect, so I'm going to go ahead and break that off and put it the way it needs to be, and then we'll go ahead and reattach that. Also have some sandpaper here, 600 and 1000 grit, so we can do a light sanding on the surface of the primer, get it ready, and then we'll clean it off real good, and we'll give several coats of the paint. Then we have the 1000 grit that we'll use once the paint fully cures, so we can lightly sand that down, get rid of any imperfections, orange peel kind of finish, get it nice and smooth so we can then do the clear coat. And then, of course, have some drop cloths that we can lay down here. Now, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I'm actually going to do this with rattle cans. I know a lot of people are telling me I'm crazy and that I should use a gun for that, but I am going to do rattle cans. I feel pretty confident that we can get a very professional finish with that. But what I'm going to be doing for this particular episode here, working on the Countach, we're going to be doing the wing, the engine cover area, and the hood is all that we're going to do now. I'm going to take those panels off. Then the second time around, next weekend, we're going to go ahead and do the doors, the pop-up headlights, and I believe that's it. The doors themselves will be a little bit of a project. And then the final week, the third week, we'll do the body itself, get all that done. And then we're hoping probably within a month period from now, have the whole car painted, clear-coated, light sanded, buffed, and polished, looking beautiful. And then we can just move on to tweaking the engine and then doing the suspension and the wheels and wrap it up finally. Cool thing is once the doors get done, we can put the windows back in and do all of the weather strip molding, all that stuff, and get it all finished. We can put the vents back in, all that. That'll be cool. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to be using for the paint and the clear coat, and then we're going to get started taking the panels off and getting down to business. So these are the items that I'm going to be using. For the paint of the car, I'm using Rust-Oleum Custom Premium Automotive Lacquer paint right here. So I'm going to be using that. You can use regular Rust-Oleum paint to paint a car, the spray, if you use the 2x or the 2X coat, because that's a thick enough coating. It's not as cheap as some of the regular spray paints. And then once we have that done, and by the way, this is going to be look very nice. We'll see it at the end, but this, because of it being a premium paint, it has a stronger metallic. The silver is very vibrant. It's not like just a cheap silver that you would normally get just in a regular spray paint. It's a little bit more, but you get what you pay for. And then for the clear coat, I'm using Spray Max 2K Clear Coat. Now this clear coat here is a professional automotive grade clear coat with a hardener. So you do have the tab here where you have to kind of crack through the other part of the can, then you mix the two together. So you have the hardener and the clear coat. So that's what I'm going to be using to do this whole car. I've actually purchased a lot of the paint and a lot of the clear coat because I don't want to kind of chintz around with it. I want to do several coats of paint, get that really nice, smooth, thick paint, and then we want to do a few coats of the clear coat and then buff it nice and smooth and shiny so it has that nice mirrored glass finish. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking these panels off, and then we'll go ahead and hit it with the sandpaper to just kind of lightly kind of clean off the surface of the primer. I do need to do those quick repairs on the wing, and then we can get down to business with the spraying the actual paint on it. So if we lift this up, I'll show you, turn it on its side, you can see you've got these nuts holding this on. So I got to take all these off so we can pop the wing off. So this is down, and I just broke this side piece off. So I need to clean everything here off, and we need to put it back on because it was slightly out of whack. It needs to be in line with the other side to when it's laying flat, they should be level, and it was not doing that. But I'll get a close-up so you can see what we're dealing with here. If you look here, you can see how it's made. It's almost built like a surfboard, where you have like a foam and kind of wood in there, and then like a fiberglass finish over it, and that's where it was attached. And I had actually put this on before because it was incorrect before, but it must have shifted or something because it's not perfect. So I'm going to clean all this junk off here, and then we're going to go ahead and reattach it, and then we can go ahead and prep the wing and start painting it. I just finished setting this flat side piece on here. I had ripped it off, as we saw, cleaned all the debris off of it, got it all positioned properly and level with the other one. So now the compound, the epoxy, the JB Weld is actually hardening. As that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way because the engine cover and the hood, those are good to go. So we can already start giving them the light sand with the 600 grit, so we can start painting those while we wait for this to be ready. Got to remove the emblem here if I can get it off. If not, I'll have to. I don't have it bolted in yet. It was just in position. There we go. And I want to be careful with this because this is a real Countach emblem that I picked up. If you want to see the video when I got these, I'll have the link across the top. Also down in the description, I'll have all the videos. I believe it's like 54 of them so far leading up to this point if you want to kind of follow the restoration of this vehicle. I also have across the top the video when I primed it if you want to see kind of how we got to this point. So now that this is off, set it here, get this up. We have the two pieces here. We have the hood and then the engine cover. As I mentioned already, they don't need any work done to them. I do need to light sand them, and then we'll clean them off, and then we should be able to start painting them. And then we'll circle back to the wing after that dries because there's some cracking that I need to reinforce as well and just kind of go over it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and start sanding these, and then we'll lay the drop cloth down so we can start painting it. Everything is nice and smooth. We went over it a couple times. You want to make sure it's completely smooth because the primer can kind of leave a little bit of like a sandpaper-ish kind of roughness. So this one had to hit a couple areas, but it's nice and smooth. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to clean it off, put it off to the side, then we'll move on to this one. Everything is good with this one. I'm going to go ahead and clean this one off, wipe it down, and then we'll be back to take a look at the wing, prep that one, so we can get started with the painting. This will give you an idea of what I'm dealing with. You can see the cracking right there under the wing on this side, which is on the left side. And if we go here on the right side, you can see as well a little bit of cracking there, not as bad, but up in the upper right hand corner, a little flaw. So what I did is I sanded it down real good, because we're going to go ahead and put that compound on it. We also had a flaw down there and that one up top. We sanded that down real good and smooth. And then we'll just build it up a little bit with that JB Weld plastic bonder body filler compound there. So after it being cleaned up, you can see I applied it right there, kind of worked it in, and then sanded it down nice and smooth. Everything has been prepped. We finished the wing, got all that squared away, sanded down. Everything has been sanded with 600 grit sandpaper, cleaned off, dusted off real good. We've gone ahead and kind of lined the garage in drop cloths, and we're ready to start painting. So I'm going to get the paint out. We're going to do the hood, the engine cover, the wing. We'll do several coats of that, let it dry, and then we'll come back tomorrow to do the clear coat, and then hopefully that'll wrap up these pieces, and that'll also wrap up this video. So I'm going to go ahead and get the paint ready. We'll get the mask on, and we'll start spraying these things. It looks like I'm done with all the coats. Everything is looking good. Took a little more than expected because of this being a metallic. It goes on a little like kind of a clearish with the metal flakes in it. It's not as dense as if you're using like a solid red or a black, things like that. So took a lot more coats than expected. I think I wound up going with about 6 coats on everything, but it's looking really good. So what we're going to do now, we're going to let it dry overnight, and then we'll be back tomorrow to hit it with the 1000 grit, lightly remove any imperfections off the surface, so that way we can do the clear coat and hardener and wrap it up. We're back here on day 2. Everything has dried about 24 hours. Going over everything now, did see some slight imperfections. I went through and wet sanded that with 1000 grit sandpaper. Cleaned everything off real good. Now we're ready to give it one more top color coat. Then we'll let that dry and then move on to the clear coat. So that's what we're going to do right now. The wing actually looks pretty good. Just had 2 little spots we had to touch up on that. The hood, outside of just kind of some overlap flaws, whatever you want to call it, I just went ahead and played it safe and just wet sanded that whole thing. And then on here, the engine cover, it looks like some dust or something got in at some point, because on this side here, but on the flat surface, there was just some little particles, so we got rid of that. So I'm going to go ahead and paint these, then we'll let these sit, and then we'll do the clear coat. Went ahead and recoated everything, even the fuel door, little panel, the hood, engine cover, did the surface of the wing. All those imperfections that we had to sand down look beautiful. So we're going to let this thing dry, probably let it dry 24 hours again, and then we'll be back to apply the clear coat. I don't think I'm going to sand it in between the clear coat, because this right here turned out really good. So I don't want to have to scuff it up. Sometimes if you scuff it up too much, then you got to give another coat anyway. So we're going to let this dry 24 hours, then we'll be back to do the clear coat and wrap it up. So we've let these dry 24 hours. So we're here on the next day, getting ready to put the clear coat and hardener on that we showed at the beginning. We're using the Spray Max, the 2K, where it has the hardener that has to be punctured on the bottom. So what you're going to want to do if you ever use this on a vehicle, you're going to want to shake it about 2 minutes beforehand, then puncture it, shake it another couple minutes as well before you do it. You want to make sure that you shake it up well. I'm going to go ahead and get the mask on, and we're going to start doing the clear coat on this, and then that'll wrap up this video. Everything is done. Clear coat is done. So what we're going to do now is just let it dry. We're not going to sand it and buff it. I'm going to wait until the whole car is done. So that wraps up this video. We're going to let these things dry. Next time in the garage, we're going to do the doors, and then we'll do the body the following week. Then once that's all done, then we'll go ahead and buff, well, light sand with like a 2,000 or 3,000 wet sandpaper grip. Get this nice and mirrored and smooth, and then we'll buff it, and that'll wrap up the paint job on this Countach project. So I hope this video was informative for you. I hope it was enjoyable. Please send me any questions, comments. I would love to hear from you. As always, I appreciate all the support. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel. I'll have down in the description links to all other Countach restoration related videos. There's about 54 of them out there right now, so you can track the progress up till here. And please subscribe. That way you're in the loop as I do the ones going forward. I'll see you next time.